Welcome back, friends, to the shop. So last night the UPS guy dropped off a package that when I opened it, I was very excited. This particular package was sent by my subscribers Anil and her husband Ed. They said they've been subscribers for a long time, that they are East Coast people, and obviously they get the joke. Thanks, guys. I love it. All right, guys, let's get started. I do have to say that flat brim, that's very West Coast. That's kind of growing on me a little bit. They don't wear flat brims like this on the East Coast. They spend majority of their money on their gold chains and their gravy encrusted wife beaters, so they don't, not much left in the budget for a nice hat like this. So I'm dropping all my things. I'm going to invite you guys into the world of one of my favorite tools, and that's the Spencer logging tape. This was actually, I did a video on this, one of my original videos back in the Wrangler barn days on this very tape. I have two of them, and both, the last one that I had, this one I bought, I probably bought this one 30 years ago. And the reason why I bought it is I was doing excavating at the time, and I was looking, we were working around mud and dirt, and I was just going through tapes, normal carpenter tapes like crazy. I was like buying one a week, and it just wasn't working. So I went, I went on a mission to find a tape that was more durable, that would last longer, and that led me to the Spencer, the 50-foot Spencer logging tapes, and I used those in excavating for years. This one broke, and I was unable to find a replacement, and so I ended up buying another one because I needed one. We were doing some logging, and then the second one broke. So today I'm going to show you how to repair these, how to rewind a new piece of tape on it, a new tape reel on it, a little bit about them, and why I think that they're the best tape measure that money can buy. I fell in love with these tapes the first time I saw them. They're just so unique to our region where we live here. This is just a staple, a standard tool that you would see on a faller's belt anywhere you go in the logging industry. Of course, made by the Spencer Company in Seattle, Washington. They've got that telltale blue. They've got really a cool graphic on there. You've got, maybe you can't see it, but you've got a logger etched in there that's bucking a big fir tree. But just the build quality of them, and the fact that I've had this one and used it a lot, both of these, for just years and years and years, and the fact that you can rebuild them is cool. They come in a couple different ways. So you can buy these replacement tapes for them, and I'd actually kind of forgotten about my broken one until this one, the end snapped off the other day, and I was down at my logging shop, and they had these stacked up there, and it was a reminder to me. I'm like, oh, that's right, I need to fix those things. So I'll show you how to do this today. These tapes come in a couple different configurations. They come in 50s and 75s, and there's one made specifically for timber cruisers that has a circumference on the back side of the tape. And I didn't get that because I'm not a timber cruiser, but the way it's designed is you can pull this out. Does this one have it? No, it's just measured both ways. You can pull it out on the back side and wrap it around a tree, and it does the calculations, and it'll tell you what the diameter of the tree is. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and we'll start with this one right here. So inside we have there's a little screw in there that holds the tape on. You should be able to see here. So I'm doing this video, so if you do get one of these and it does break, that you'll know how to replace it. I watched a video, there was a couple videos on YouTube, but they were very poorly done. I spent about 15 minutes getting that tape untangled because I was gonna try to unreel it slowly and keep it flat on the bench, but it all just unwound like a clock spring, and was not the ideal way of doing it. So let's try it this way. Maybe we'll try it like a fire hose, right? On a fire hose, if you throw it right, it won't twist up on you. So let's see if we can do that. Well, actually, I think it actually did work. With the tape pulled out and all the twists taken out of it, just laying on the ground, you'll look inside here and you'll see on the bottom of these it's got a piece of rubber tubing on there, right there. Now that's to protect the tape. You can see that it hangs this way, so that you want to bring the tape in from the bottom. and I'd be wearing it blue side out, so you'd be pulling, so you want it to go, I believe it's right in the bottom this way. Now, inside here, they were very clever because it's that, you can see that cut in the tape is it's kind of a V shape. That's so you don't have to take the screw out, because the screw is almost impossible to get out or to get back in. So you can just thread it over top of this guy. Just like that. Can you see that on there? So then you pull that tight, and now you can go ahead and tighten that screw. Once you get that set screw on there, you're just going to start rotating this blue outside, this anodized casing here, and that will start winding your tape in. Just do like quarter turns. So just do like quarter turns, and then, you know, you can overwind that spring and then just give it a little help. You want to be able to put enough tension on it that it can pull itself back in any terrain, and that means like going through grass over logs and things, but not so much it comes back and murders you. It's a little bit loose, so I like to have it snap back a little bit. I'll control it when it comes back with your glove on. Make sure you have a glove with these. They're really sharp. That sheet metal, I've had it cut me really deep a couple times as you're pulling it. It's not, yeah, I like to snap back more on that. I'm going to give it another full turn here. So and you can pretty much custom tailor it to what you like. Hold pressure on here, and just once you get that tension the way you like it, you can go through here and just tighten up these screws. These screws they just sandwich the spring, so it won't go on you. And always get in a habit when you're tightening something that tightens in a circle like this, is clamping like a wheel or anything. Use a star pattern. That way you don't warp. It's less likely to warp anything, just like you would on tightening up a wheel. These are tiny, tiny little machine screws that are threaded into aluminum, so don't give it the hugga-bugga when you're tightening them. Now we need to bend the horseshoe nail in a way that it will work on the end, and what you ultimately want to go for is this right here. This, of course, this is a horseshoe nail, what it looks like from the beginning, a square nail. And the reason for why this is done this way is that you put this on the end of your tape. You want to make sure you orient it the right way, the way it's going to hang on your body. And you'll put it on the tape right here, and then we'll bend that down and capture that on there. And so when you are measuring your logs, you have a nice big wide spot there for your thumb to push on, and you push that sharp edge right down into the bark, and then you can pull your tape and measure the length that you're going to buck to, and then when you're on the other end, you can just give it a slight tug, and it will come right out because of that shape. So here's how you do that. So you just take your horseshoe nail and figure about halfway down or so, roughly, maybe whatever you like there, and I'll just clamp that in the vise like that, and bend it over. Let's see, there we have the start right there. Okay, so now we need to do it again, right? So it's got to come the other way. So to get this started, I'll usually just hang that kind of in the corner and get it going like that, and then clamp it in here, and then bring it around rest of the way, but don't close it. Just determine what side your tape is going to hang from, whether that be your left or your right. Also, maybe I didn't mention, if you are going to hang it from your left, make sure you account for that, the way that you wind it on there. I put a nail on backwards one time, and it plagued me for years. It was one of those things where it wasn't inconvenient enough for me to take the time to flip it around, but it bothered me, you know, for years. So hang it the way it's going to go, and then just think, you know, what's the natural way you're going to want to push on that. When that comes out, when you grab it with your hand, I want to push it just like that, have my thumb on there, right? And now we can go ahead and close it up on the vise. And this is the way it should look right there when it's all done, so that when you're pushing on it, you pull it out, you grab it like this, you push it, and then you stick it in, and you've got that wide portion of the nail to give a little bit of a, spread that pressure on there so it doesn't hurt your thumb. So now when you're doing your layout, just to demonstrate here, I'm going to have this on my Fowler's belt. It's going to be the blue side out like that. I can simply grab it with one hand, I can stick it in to the bark, and I can just, usually have my saw in my hand and everything. I could just back up. Let's say I'm cutting 40 footers, come out to 40 foot, measure it. Maybe I'll just stick like a little pine cone on there to mark it, give this a little tug, and then it'll come back. And then it's kind of a one-hand operation. So that's why the horseshoe and kind of how things are set up. But careful, if you wind that too tight, that horseshoe nail is really sharp. It'll come back and bite you. I'm not sure if Spencer recommends this, but I have seen this on vintage tapes that I have, real tapes that were made, you know, back in the day, and they always said that you need to lubricate your tapes. Now, I don't know, maybe there's two schools of thought with that, in that lubricating is going to attract dirt, and that, you know, that could be a legitimate complaint, and I would say that that was, you know, probably exactly what would happen. But, you know, as I'm so fond of talking about, or I was talking about how fond I am of the silicone sprays, I think that that might be an exception because it does dry. And so I'm going to carefully pull this out. Don't overextend it and break the spring. But I'm going to coat it with just a real light coat of silicone as I let it through. And then use a rag just to wipe off the excess. That silicone spray on that AMSOIL and the other one as well is the Maxim is a really fine mist, so it covers very, very well, and it's going to just lubricate everything and make everything slip nicer. And the fact that it dries should prevent, it shouldn't gather dirt, you know, like if you were to put a light oil on this. I would say a light oil on your tape would be just fine, provided you were in a very clean environment. But if you're working construction, probably wouldn't recommend that. Probably just make your tape quit working sooner. We'll see. All silicone one and not the other, and I'll report back, and we'll see after using it for a year or so if there's much difference. I siliconed the older one.